Greetings, and I'm Dr. Martirano, the proud superintendent of the St. Mary's County Public School System, and welcome to another wonderful edition of the Superintendent Spotlight. This is an opportunity where I'm able to spotlight the efforts of our school system employees, our students, our staff, our community members, in terms of focusing on an issue that's impacting the betterment for our young people in St. Mary's County. So right now, there's a lot of great work occurring in the St. Mary's County Public School System around the topic of the curriculum reform, around the aspect of moving our students to make certain that they're all college and career ready. So lots of conversation about the Common Core curriculum, the Maryland College and Career Ready standards, and fully understanding what that's all about. So with me today is our illustrious director, executive director of teaching and learning, Dr. Jeff Maher. He also is responsible for our professional development for all of our teachers. So I'm delighted to have him with me today because we're going to get into some of the nuances and the specifics of what the Common Core standards are exactly, now referred to as the Maryland College and Career Ready standards, and then understand what those implications are for our young people, and then also wanting our parents to understand who are tuning in, how they can receive additional resources and obtain those resources on our website and for follow-up for further questions. So, Jeff, good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm well, and with that introduction, you and I both know that we've had great conversation about the topic of the Common Core implementation, the reforms for Race to the Top, moving to a new teacher principal evaluation process, and how that's all shifted for our school district. And what I'm proud of is when the state adopted this whole new process in terms of the Common Core standards, that occurred in 2010. Established by 46 states, working with the governors in those states, the chief state officers of education, all coming together to establish what is called the Common Core standards. So help our viewers understand what mainly is driving all of this. What is the purpose of this and understanding the components of it as it applies to our students and to our community?
Sure. The Common Core is a set of standards that identify expectations for learning for all of our students. Now, having standards is nothing new. We've had standards that have guided instruction for several years.
Right.
Before the Common Core, there were the Maryland Learning Outcomes.
Correct.
And those guided instruction. The Common Core provides a higher level of rigor and increased standards for students across all grade levels. The focus is on mathematics, as well as English language arts and cross-disciplinary literacy. So we're looking at standards that apply across all of the disciplines. And in science, there's a next generation science standards, which
Correct.
include very specific integrated skills for science and STEM.
Right. But understanding it at a deeper level, it's the standards, they're not the curriculum.
That's right.
It's basically standards are by the end of a particular grade level, it's what we expect all students to be able to learn and know how to do in that sense. We set those standards, but it's not the curriculum. Make that distinction for what that exactly means.
Absolutely. So what the standards do is it provides benchmarks for learning at a grade level. So in language arts, it would talk about the specific grammar skills, spelling skills, reading skills, comprehension, and being able to, the writing skills that are needed at a certain grade level. And then the teacher uses those standards to guide their instruction, but they still develop their lesson plans, they identify the resources, our curriculum provides particular content for them to address. The standards give a benchmark, but the teachers and the classroom guides what happens to get to those benchmarks.
So in essence, by the end of a particular school year, by the end of a student who's in first grade, they will have accomplished the following items. And that's what the standards are. We want to benchmark that so that we know by the end of first grade, every young person in St. Mary's County Public Schools will have accomplished the same kind of objectives, the standards, and then we provide the curriculum and the methodologies and the pedagogy for how that occurs. And then that occurs and builds so that when we say we want all young people to be college and career ready, in an ideal world, if those standards are implemented with fidelity, each year building upon the next year, those students truly should be ready for college. Is that a nice way to kind of put it?
Right, and it provides a consistent level of expectations too. So if students transfer from school to school or from district to district or even across the nation, they know that when they come in, they're going to be right at the same level of expectation as their peers across the area, the nation.
So, and that's a very big distinction because for us, we have close to 18,000 students. 1/3 of our student population is associated with the military. That puts us on the list of one of the largest school systems in America with a representation of students associated with the military. And we know there's great mobility. So if a student moves in here from, let's say, Washington State, as it currently exists, the alignment of the curriculum is not there. But the goal is to understand that a common core set of standards to be implemented across all states to benefit young people so that when they do move, they can expect that same kind of delivery within reason from state to state, which is not occurring right now.
Absolutely. It's a consistent set of standards and a high level of expectations for what students should know and be able to do every year.
Yeah, and ultimately leading to that whole level of college and career ready. So when we have in St. Mary's County a graduation rate of 91.5, let me say that again, 91.5, well above state and national averages. We're so proud of that performance of all three of our high schools. We want to make certain that every young person who walks across that stage, that 91.5% of the graduating class, is truly ready to go on to college and into a career. I mean, that's the essence of it. Now elaborate a little further so that people understand. When we were delivering the curriculum before, we talk about the fact of moving across the curriculum in a fast manner. Now we're moving at a deeper level, and you talked about more opportunities to write. Talk a little bit about that, what that means.
Absolutely. So with these expectations, students are expected to think critically, to be able to analyze a piece of text, for example. They're also asked to make connections across multiple pieces of text, and that's a new way of thinking and learning. So, for example, if in language arts they were reading the book Johnny Tremain, for example.
Right, exactly, that's one.
They might in social studies be looking at primary source documents like diary entries of from the American Revolution, and be able to make connections between the two. So they're really able to dive really deeply into that content and be able to apply their understandings, their thinking across multiple content areas.
Right. And you know, as I introduced you, I said, you know, you're our Executive Director of Teaching and Learning and Professional Development. And he's got a big job, you know, in the school district to make sure that all this is implemented with his supervisors to a high level of fidelity. So there's been a lot of work that our community members, I don't think, understand that our teachers have participated in as far as the professional development and the building of the curriculum and the writing of curriculum and activities and the assessments. Talk a little bit about that, because your office is extremely skilled in that arena.
In looking at the curriculum, obviously, for the example I just posed, that was one way of addressing it. But the supervisors have been working very closely with teachers over the last couple of years to identify the right kind of text to bring into the curriculum. And so teachers have been very actively involved in that process to look at what the shifts that have to occur in their instruction. If additional writing is required, how do you ask the right question? And then how do you provide the structure for giving feedback to kids on that writing? So looking at rubrics and making sure we have rubrics that make sense, not only to the teachers to show their expectations of what they're looking for, but rubrics for kids so that they know what the bar is that they have to reach, what they have to attain.
Right, and a rubric in basic terms is basically a standard or a model that exemplifies a level of excellence to shoot for what really constitutes an A, B, or a C in that sense. And we want our students, if they're receiving a grade of a C or a B, if they want to strive for that A, here's what they need to do. So that's what that rubric really contains in that sense. And the focus also, I think what we really want to say is the fact of writing across the curriculum. You've talked about critical thinking and problem solving, because the information right now in the 21st century, there is so much information, it shifts on a regular basis, and we know that we could never cover the curriculum in 1 year. So what we have to do is be able to teach our young people how to solve problems, how to access and analyze information, how to think critically, and apply those skills in a variety of different ways, and then be able to communicate effectively, both in oral and written communication. And that's why I'm very much a supporter of the Common Core, in the fact that it does provide that issue for students who do move, but taking things deeper, more opportunity for analysis, and then actually preparing them for the 21st century in terms of being able to solve problems that we really know that haven't been defined yet in that sense. So one final question, Dr. Maher, as we're wrapping up here. Tell our viewing audience, we've only been able to talk to them for about 10 minutes. We're trying to give it some justice in that sense. If they want more additional information, how could they find that?
Well, I think the first thing that parents should do is talk to their teachers, find out what's going on in the classroom, ask the critical questions in parent conferences about what's happening in the classroom.
Right. Very good.
At the beginning of the year, when syllabi are handed out, when those expectations are put out, take a look at them. It really defines clearly what their students are going to be doing, their children are going to be doing throughout the year. Also, look at homework assignments.
Right.
I think that you're going to find that assignments kids are doing look different. They call for more critical thinking.
Sure do.
They call for a lot of application and problem solving, as you talked about. Also, we have additional resources that are available on our website.
Absolutely.
If you go to smcps.org, click on Offices and then Teaching, Learning, and Professional Development.
Right.
By content, there are a number of resources for parents. There are also websites that parents can access, and many of our textbooks have online resources
They sure do.
that parents and students can go to for practice in problem solving. In addition, MSDE, the Maryland State Department of Education, has put out resources at marylandpublicschools.org.
Okay, very good. So in a very compressed manner, we have been able to, what we wanted to try to do is provide an overview of what the Common Core standards are, better known now as the Maryland College and Career Ready Standards. And the ultimate goal, as we've said several times today, is we want to ultimately prepare our young people for college and careers. That's the thrust of this, to ensure that we have students prepared for the 21st century. So you can tell we have a lot of smart people in the St. Mary's County Public School systems who are working with our teachers and with our students, and we're a very open school system, and we want that two-way communication. As said, we can't explain it all in 10 minutes, but we want to provide you with those resources and references as Dr. Maher has explained. So, on behalf of the St. Mary's County Public School System, I'm Dr. Martirano, the very proud superintendent of the St. Mary's County Public School System. Another edition of the Superintendent Spotlight with Dr. Maher, our Executive Director of Teaching and Learning and Professional Development. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.